Edward Kieswetter officially takes over the reins as the new Commissioner of SARS next week. I wonder whether he'll go in on May Day, because it's meant to start, his tenure is meant to start on the 1st of May. He might go in just to make a statement to the rest of his team, or he might just begin on the 2nd, like any ordinary person would anyway. There's no denying it's one of the most important jobs in the country if we're to arrest the decline in public finances. Jean de Toit, a senior attorney at Tax Consulting South Africa, has put together a to-do list for the new SARS Commissioner. Evening, Jean.
Hi, good evening, and thanks for having me.
Just firstly, your thoughts on the choice of Edward Kieswetter to do the job?
I think just based on his CV, he looks to be the right man for the job. He's got a very good record at the Commissioner previously, and all in all, I think it's a good choice.
What are some of the key challenges that he will face on the 2nd of May?
Well, I think that the primary issue that he needs to deal with is slippage in taxpayer morality that has been noted across the board by tax practitioners and by the Nugent Commission as well. That's definitely something that he needs to look at first and foremost.
Now, there has been the voluntary disclosure program, which is ongoing, which is all about waiving penalties, and critically, it prohibits SARS or the NPA from prosecuting for you as long as you come clean. Do you think in this sort of game of chess between SARS and errant taxpayers, we might see a special version, another special voluntary disclosure program? Do you think it's one of the levers he might pull?
No, I don't think we'll see another special voluntary disclosure program. I think what we need to consider is whether, as soon as he starts, if he sends the right message that his reign will bring about change, and that taxpayers who previously, took their chances might consider now rather doing a VDP, as they face a greater risk of being prosecuted and facing the concomitant penalties if they don't.
Now, sitting down with the Commissioner designate last month, it was quite clear that one of his most important and pressing tasks at hand was to shift the culture inside SARS. And under previous SARS Commissioner, and as we heard in the Nugent inquiry, staff morale had really ebbed to an all-time low. People were shifted out. People were given redundant portfolios. How might he set about rebuilding the morale inside SARS?
Well, I think firstly it's important to say that there are very competent people working at SARS, and if he can again harness that culture that was under the collector of revenue previously, where everyone had a sense of pride in their job and that they want to do their job well and they served a higher purpose, if I can put it that way. I think that's the best way to do it.
Now, another key challenge that came up during the Nugent Commission was the lack of action against prominent tax dodgers, and that's clearly come through from the Zondo Commission as well, and the Basasa inquiries. We're listening to the accountants sing like a canary as well, and we know this was a special area when it comes to Mr. Kieswetter's previous tenure at SARS. He was in charge of the large business centre. How do you expect him to approach dealing with the big fish, the big tax dodgers?
Well, I think that's a very important question, and I think that's a question on everyone's mind. In the public domain, there are so many reports of evident tax evasion. Just on what was revealed on Basasa alone, there's so much that he can do. It's a case of, will he go after very important yet low-hanging fruit? In my view, I think it would serve him well if he can address these issues, and if the public could see that he is, the new broom, as it was, would sweep clean and deal with these concerns immediately.
Without fear or favour. And there really is an impression that if you are politically connected, then you can get away with almost anything with seeming impunity. So that certainly has to change. And then IT. Obviously, we had that disgraced IT head of IT and that performance in front of was it the Nugent or the Zondo Commission? I'm getting my commissions confused at the moment, but it really was a fiasco. As a tax practitioner, what is dealing with SARS on the e-filing front been like over the last few years?
That was under the Nugent Commission. From our perspective, I don't think there's a specific IT issue that SARS needs to deal with. I mean, mostly if there is maintenance to e-filing, it's done after hours, and normally it's resolved rather quickly. The IT aspect of it, from our perspective, is not a real issue.
Finally, Jean, what's the number one issue that you would like the Commissioner to focus on come May 2nd?
I think you should take action, as mentioned earlier, as soon as possible to show that the politically connected, everyone for that matter, is equal before the law, and everyone who evades taxes will be prosecuted.
Well, Jean
to send a message of change.
Jean de Toit, thank you very much for your time. Senior Attorney at Tax Consulting South Africa. Unequivocal there. We are all equal before the law if one is to turn things around at SARS.